You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's WWE SmackDown After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's WWE SmackDown After Show.
I love that intro. I just wrote down that number in case I want to call in, maybe talk to you. Hey, welcome to the SmackDown After Show. I'm Ric Drasin, your host, along with Angelina, our co-host. And it's just the two of us today.
But that's okay. We actually have a guest that's going to be calling in.
We do have a guest.
We do.
Maybe you should tell our listeners who the guest is.
Okay, well, from Canada, we have Smith Hart calling in. He is the first son of Stu Hart and the oldest brother of Bret and Owen Hart. He is also the president of the Hart Brothers Wrestling Association in Canada. So we're really lucky to have him call in. He's a true advocate for wrestling from the independent level all the way up to the professional level, and one of the most knowledgeable people I know in the wrestling business. So I am so excited because he watched SmackDown.
I'm sure. I mean, the whole family is just so credible. You know, all the years of wrestling and the shows they've done and the training they've done that. You can't find anybody better than that.
I know. So this is going to be a real treat for our listeners because they actually get to listen to Smack with one of the Hart brothers.
Well, it's funny because they're very old school, as I am. You know, we all go back to our roots. And just before I came over here, I was looking at Dick Steinborn, who was a big wrestler in the late 50s, and I added him as a friend on Facebook, and I was going through his photos. He must have had 200 or 300 photos of all the guys years back. Like I remember so well, like Roy Shires and Ray Stevens and El Mongol and Lou Thez and Skull Murphy that no one knows about today, and most of them have passed away. But it was a whole different ball game back then, as you know, with wrestling. And just to see those old black and white photos and just the feeling of what the dressing was like and the ring was like and the crowds were like, it was a different world entirely. So I was going through a little bit of flashback of reminiscing and really having fun looking at this stuff. So it's fun to look at that, and then you watch SmackDown, you compare it and how it's evolved because everything is like fast forward now, and it's state-of-the-art equipment and state-of-the-art filming, and the matches are all, you know, so many great high spots and great athletes. It's just evolved into something really special.
And you know, I tend to, you know, shed a tear at the whole leaving of the kayfabe because there was something really special and magical. Like when you're participating prior to the breaking of kayfabe, you knew you were creating magic. When you went over, you know, when you could build heat and go over with an audience and they believed it, was awesome. It was truly magical. I feel like it's unfortunate that the new talent, they don't get to experience wrestling at that level, but for us old school people, it's something that we have that common thread.
And that's very true. And the thing is years ago, I'd go back 15 years ago, there was a videotape, actually there was a half-hour show out, The Secrets of Pro Wrestling, two guys in masks.
Right.
And they show how they did backdrops, they show how they did punches, and how they did all this stuff. And of course, they wore a mask not to reveal who they really were. And they got paid a few $100 to do it, and they just gave it away, which I find really offensive. Because it's like The Secrets of Magic, for example, you know, with David Copperfield. They showed how he moved an airplane out of a building. Well, basically, they just moved the screen, they moved it out, and they put the screen back up.
Right.
I don't want to know that stuff. And it's the same thing with wrestling. I mean, I never wanted, as a kid, I don't want to know what's going on in the ring and how they do it. I just want to have fun. And I think some of it takes the fun away because with the internet, you know 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the road what's going to happen. You know, you just pretty much know where I'd rather be surprised. You know, the element of surprise is gone. The work is good. The athletics are good. I mean, the creativity of the camera guys and the production's fantastic. It's just perfect. But I want to be surprised, you know.
Right.
And every once in a while on SmackDown, I'm surprised. They have a good match.
Yeah, that's so true. And when we talk about that, I also think to myself, you know, it is called sports entertainment. Give us the chance let us perform. Let us make our magic.
Right.
Let us get you over so that you really get your money's out of your ticket sale. But what they're doing now and how they're developing their storylines, it's just as entertaining. We may have gotten away from kayfabe, but now we're more, into being able to see this new talent on a multi-venue.
Yeah.
You can watch them on the WWE app. You can follow them on Twitter. You can follow them on Facebook. So I guess you give up one to get another. It's just.
But we're coming from a different place, and even as some of our guests have, and Manuel Guerrero as well, we've come from a place back in the past when we knew what it was all about. Today, your audience changes every year. You have a new breed of kids coming up every year to watch wrestling, so they're just attuned to what they're giving to them right now. And that's okay because they like it and they follow it and that's what they know. And so they're having a good time with it. And that's the way the world works. Everything's the same way. Bodybuilding's the same way too. It's not what it used to be. So you got to change with the times, and I'm going to change a little bit because I don't want to be stuck as an old man who says, you never change, but you got to a little bit.
Right.
And enjoy it.
Yeah. Accept it and enjoy it for what it is.
Exactly.
So SmackDown, we're here to talk about SmackDown Season 15, Episode 726. It still blows my mind every time I repeat an episode that they've even gotten that far. But let's talk about what we first saw. I really enjoyed it. It was Teddy Long comes out, right?
Yep.
He learns that he's got to get his job evaluation from Vince McMahon tonight.
That's right.
So what I thought was really cute is just when you think like maybe Vince McMahon's coming out, it's Booker T. Wow, what presence that guy has in the ring. He just came out with such charisma, and I was like, yay, Booker T.
He's a terrific wrestler, too. He is phenomenal in the ring. He can move like nobody's business. And then they brought him in and made him a general manager and put him on the mic. He did a great job. He's just 100% there. But I pretty much knew where we were going with this.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a nice build-up, though. I thought, I was surprised that they made a mention of his tricep surgery, that he needed to come back from that, and creds to the fact that
did he rip his tricep?
That's what they said. He had tricep surgery, so I'm thinking.
I ripped mine about 20 years ago on my right arm, and I never had it reattached. So I lost like a couple of inches because it's not attached. And then I saw people like what he did, and they had it attached, and it was never the same anyway. So I kind of don't have it now, but it's okay.
Well, so to tell you what happened the rest of the way, the chairman comes out.
Right.
And, man, he gets the crowd fired
with his walk.
up. Yeah, he does. He comes out and...
well, first we had Brad Maddox.
Well, after Vince asks Teddy and Booker to pitch their main events, Booker interrupts the whole promotion and comes running out saying... wait, stop the show. I want to throw my name in the hat. And asks to be the general manager of SmackDown. Right. So I thought that was so awesome. This young guy, Brad Maddox, he's got something.
Yeah,
he's really good on the mic.
He's good in the ring too.
Yeah.
They're doing something with him, and they're keeping him there, and they're giving him a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
So this was kind of cool. They brought him in with the, Vince, of course.
Yeah.
No one gets to be all out there with Vince.
Yeah.
But then we had a turn.
That's right. I know, which I loved. I loved because right there on the spot, Vince really builds up the audience, and he's like, and the new GM for SmackDown is Vicky Guerrero.
Right.
And then, she struts her stuff to the ring. It was so awesome.
Somebody asked us last week that we thought she was coming back. We talked about that, and it's obvious that she was.
Oh, yeah.
We knew she was.
Yeah, but did you know it was going to be SmackDown? Did you think she was going to come back and play such a...
No, I had no idea, but I knew she'd be back. She's valuable to the company. Mm-hmm. So, and she does her job well. When she starts screaming, though, I mute the TV. I can't hear that.
It's a loud pitch for sure.
It's very loud.
Okay, so I loved that they started right away with match 1 with Ziggler and Swagger.
Yep.
I really enjoy watching Ziggler so much because of his confidence in the ring.
Yeah.
His tag is he's a show-off. I buy it. He sells it. He's got this smile that when he smiles, I'm thinking in my head, this needs to be a Trident commercial. He needs to be selling gum because I can actually see the stars. Like when he smiles, I can just see like a flash of light coming off his teeth, and he just gets me every time.
Well, he threw a really good drop kick in there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's very good at that. And Swagger, I love Swagger. I've seen him from the beginning, and I always said I thought he had a lot of potential. He has the old school look. He's a big lumbering guy. You know, with age, he'll even have more of an old school look. But he looks aggressive when he's out there. He's a good wrestler, and he knows his moves. And I think he brings a lot to the ring. But the two together had the chemistry.
Yeah, they did.
Where a lot of times you don't see that. But they really had it. And I enjoyed the match. And I always enjoy AJ when she gets involved.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Zig really sold for Swagger. I mean, he really did. He really sold the heck out of it and made it look like he was performing at this extremely high level, and it just went over so well with the audience. What did you think of Antonio and Zeb on the sidelines there?
Well,
it was short-lived.
It was short-lived, but it's part of the show. I mean, Zeb's a seasoned wrestler himself, and he knows he's got great timing when to come in and when not to. He's great on the mic. He knows the psychology behind a match, so he knows when he comes in, something's gonna come out of it. And so it was good to have him there. I think it's good. Wasn't
it nice that they used the ref? That the ref got to be a part of that match.
Well, the ref should be. People don't realize, they think the referee's just some dummy in the ring, but he's really the third man in the ring for a match with two people, and he's very well versed on what's going on, what should be going on. He can keep the match in order. If they listen to him, they're supposed to respect him.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I liked it. I liked it because he really. God, they were able to get excited about that.
And he got them out of there, and that was it.
Well, with the end of that match, Ziggler takes Swagger on the zigzag. And before we start our next promo, well, we're going to move into the AJ, but before that, I would like to bring our caller on the line, Smith Hart. Are you there?
I am there, and it's a pleasure to talk to you and address the AfterBuzz fans.
Well, thank you, Smith. I'm so glad you have a chance to come on the line. You're just a well of information. You always provide really, really good expert commentary on what's going on in the wrestling business as far as what we saw growing up, what we're seeing now. You had a chance to watch SmackDown. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, we were just going over the Zig Ziglar match with Swagger. Did you enjoy that?
Yes, I did. In fact, although I think that Ziggler, the great talent that he is in a program with someone like Biggie Langston, I think that's a step down as opposed to a step up that he should be taking.
What do you mean?
I'd like him going against guys like Orton.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay, so AJ, there was a little bit of promoing going on after this match where Zig tears up, and he basically says, I'm not sorry I left AJ. And that went over so big with the audience. What do you think of what they're doing with AJ in the Diva division?
I think there's too much focus on AJ, actually. She's... got her, she has a following, but, this is still wrestling, if you call it sports entertainment, but really, I don't think they should veer off too heavily with the love aspects of it, the boyfriend, girlfriend stuff. She's doing well, but, they shouldn't take away from, like, Swagger.
Well, yeah.
I got to say, I totally agree with you. I'm very old school. I'm sure that you're very old school as well. And it should be about wrestling. It's not about the soap opera, the love interest in the dressing room and all that, because it does take away from it. But somehow they've got the audience convinced this is what they want. And I'd rather stick to the wrestling, too.
Well, with AJ, they're really playing her to be this, this monster. And, she kind of goes through men. That's her gig. She goes through men fairly quickly. Now she let, her and Zig are out. There was this moment where, she threw a fit and she's pounding her fist on Big E's chest and he almost kisses her. I'm not quite sure where they're going with that.
Yeah.
But what do you think of the Diva division in the WWE right now?
Well, there's a lot of beautiful divas out there. I sometimes think that, they don't really, it's not like it used to be where, the lady wrestlers used to come and go, as you know. They were an attraction like the world champion or the wrestling bear or the midgets.
Same thing,
You got
exactly.
this whole league, you get several belts and things, and they really don't have enough, a roster to have all that. But she's sort of, in her own little identity as this sort of spoiled psychotic that. Maybe was whipped and put away wet once too often.
Smith, are you using?
I don't get it sometimes. I just don't.
Are you using? Smith, are you using a lot of women up there in Canada in your promotions?
No, not too many. Not a lot. There's not a lot available either.
No, Smith, back in the day, as you know, women were brought in like Mae Young or Moolah or the midgets as a novelty, maybe once every few months, and they would pack the house and then they leave. If you had them every night, it wouldn't draw.
Right.
It wouldn't draw. Yeah, it was just a novelty that people came out to see.
They aren't really. Most of them don't have an amateur background. Natalie has learned a lot from Tyson Kidd and her family members, but. Most of them do little, that are fairly obviously choreographed little routines, and anybody that does that, whether it's male wrestlers or female wrestlers, it shows.
Exactly.
And that's new school, and I'm not new school. I don't like new school.
Me either. It's just better to call it in the ring. Am I right?
You're exactly right.
You know what? Speaking of old school, that's such a great segue to the second match, because the second match was a tag team match. It had Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, the Shield, versus the Usos, which are Jimmy and Jay, who they went over so big, so fast. I absolutely love the way they do their entrance into the ring with the head hunting calls and all that tribal dancing that they do. With this, lately, I have been seeing like legitimate tag teams, not like a Daniel Bryan with Kane for a while tagging together, but actually tag teams that I do not want to see split up, because I am buying the tag team concepts. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree. I like good tag team combinations and the aspects of tag team psychology, which is a lost art. To me, teaming Andre the Giant up with Hornswoggle or Rey Mysterio, it doesn't make sense.
Oh, none.
But having brothers or, brothers-in-law like Neidhart and Bret Hart, or people that look alike or work alike, they're both acrobatic, or they're both bodybuilders, or they're both huge, or they're both football players, or in this case they're related Samoans, fourth generation or whatever. That all makes sense. It makes for good tag team entities. But the psychology of tag team wrestling, with the referee being distracted by one of the villains while something is going on behind the referee's back, or the babyface coming in after a lot of villainry has gone on, and he's protesting that they're double teaming his partner, and the referee says, well, get back in your corner, counting him out. While that's happening, all the shit is hitting the fan, and when it's all done, the referee, the babyface in question that's allowing all this to happen, causing it while his partner is being double teamed, you can give the referee the signal, okay, it's done, and he turns around and they've already done their fait accompli, and that gets fans nuts without really obviously middling the referee. But now that I've exposed all that, I suppose I've ruined it for a lot of
Well,
no, you're so right. You're so right.
There was so much of that where the heels could do so much but without ever getting caught at it. I don't believe to me, a villain who gets caught at what he does is not a villain, he's a buffoon.
Yeah.
And especially with the aid of a manager and maybe a foreign object and whatever else they might have. Then if they get away with it, then they're smart. They're bad and smart. If they don't, then they might as well save that and just get beaten without the effects or without the added, dishonestry, cheating.
Smith, let me ask you this: who do you think right now, currently on the roster, on the WWE roster, uses the best tag team psychology?
Well, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian comes to mind.
Nice pick. Nice pick. Well, that was a really good match. Just to kind of summarize what happened, it was a really short match. But they do a Raw flashback where Mark Henry comes in because they're showing you on Monday Night Raw, the Shield attacked Mark Henry on a 3-on-1, and so at the end of this match, right?
Right.
That's when the Shield's kind of retreat, and they were kind of scared out of the ring. So we go to match 3, which was Wade Barrett versus Daniel Bryan, and now that is a real difference in size. I mean, Wade Barrett's huge, Daniel's not, but he goes over so big with the crowd. What are your thoughts on Daniel Bryan?
Well, he's undoubtedly probably the most popular wrestler today, and he reminds me of TJ, Tyson Kidd with his vast repertoire of holds. And, I think it was an innocuous combination. Him and he and Kane teamed up, but it worked, with the little petty feuds and anger management stuff. It worked in after a while, but, that was another one of those teams that really shouldn't have worked. I don't know why. It just, because of his supreme wrestling skills, connect.
Well, it's funny that you should say that. What do you think goes over? Why do you think Daniel goes over so big? Besides his extreme wrestling skills,
he does a lot of unseen, holds that people don't know, and they're kind of acrobatic, and it's sort of, he is a throwback to the old school, almost like submission thing with a lot of flair as well.
He comes up with something new all the time.
Yeah, he does. They keep coming up with different names for his moves. Here's what was interesting.
I don't think he needs the beard. I don't understand the beard. It's hardly endearing, but it's a scruffy beard. I don't know why they don't call it a goatee. It's like a monstrous goatee, but anyway, maybe there's something behind the scenes on that, or they maybe want a character to have a certain identity to sell dolls or whatever. I don't know, a beard or a belt or a gun or
I don't care for it.
It's funny that you should. It's funny that you should say that, Smith, because I have been waiting for someone to grab his beard and do like a mare, like a hair mare, but like with his beard, and just kind of flip him by his beard. I mean, it's so long now.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. He's a baby face, so maybe that's why they haven't done it yet. Even more better on a heel.
Of course.
Well, Cena during the pay-per-view, I believe it was, he announces that for the WWE Championship in the SummerSlam coming up here in LA, that he is going to fight Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. How awesome is that for Daniel? Isn't that great?
It's good for Daniel.
Yeah, fantastic.
So that's kind of what happened with Daniel, and I love watching the crowd react to him. He knows how to work the crowd. The yes, this top rope stuff that he does, the constant submission holding. They do. He's
been holding his own for a long time.
Yeah.
What do you think of Barrett, Smith?
I think Wade Barrett's tremendous potential with his size, and I think it's been inconsistent booking that's kept him down a little.
That's exactly what I was thinking. They don't do anything with him really. He does have the potential, but you see very little. They just don't push him the right way. And back in the day when we were in the business back in the day, and you were talking about the matches, the psychology behind it, because we called our own matches. We didn't have somebody giving us a script upstairs saying, "Okay, here's what you're going to do for 15 minutes, and you better follow it to a T." And you can't follow it to a T. What if you've missed something or something?
It's kind of an innate thing, and as long as you get a gut feeling of something you can do right on the spot. But basically, wrestlers that have any salt are good mob psychologists, and they know what's going to work with the crowd at any given time. And they, of course, will watch all the previous matches so they don't repeat stuff that's unnecessary.
Sure. Makes a huge difference.
Well, without going through a lot of the little promos, because it's more about like, let's take your knowledge and maximize it for our listening audience. I get what you're saying regarding the promos. They're, for you, not the most important part of what we're watching on television. What is really important are the matches. With the exception of Paul Heyman, I would love to get your take on how, what's your take on Paul Heyman as a manager?
He's one of the best managers, period. He's a very eloquent speaker. He's, been a very successful promoter in his own right. And even though I don't really know the man personally, he does have the wisdom to not take away from the wrestlers that are in his charge. He doesn't steal their heat. Even a veteran like Zeb, whatever his name is, Dutch Mantel, he sometimes is taking heat away from Swagger. And Paul Heyman does not do that, even though he did interfere. He keeps the focus in his interviews and in his actions on the talent that he's managing, which is just common sense and
that's a good point.
What is right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Very good.
So
he makes them hate it. Most managers manage bad guys or rule breakers, as they call the new school villains.
Mm-hmm.
But he's great at keeping them hated. Even when they're not even around, they're not in his presence. Just his vitriolic interviews are so laced with hatred and they really are. They're all he's a master at that, and I can't give him enough credit for it.
yeah, well, he's got a new protege. It's Curtis Axel, and although Curtis comes from a line of wonderful wrestlers like your dynasty, Smith, how do you think Curtis has been developing over time? We have seen a big shift in the way Paul first worked him, and he was a little hesitant on the mic. Now he's just exploding. He is exploding right now. I think he went over big on Friday.
In a short period of time.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Curtis Axel? Are we still there, Smith? Oh
no!
Darn!
Can you get him back?
Know what? I got to tell you, I love when we get personalities on the show that can take us back to what the old school mentality is. Because I think what they do if there are new listeners, they can offer these new listeners a chance to know what it was like to be part of this world.
Exactly.
And then what we're looking at when we're watching on television versus what maybe a new young 10-year-old will be looking at. I hope one day, between me and you, Rick, I hope one day we get to bring a legend into this studio. Someone so big, a WWE Hall of Famer.
If we can find somebody still alive.
There are a few out there, but I would love to get...
I'm sorry. We went through a tunnel there. I may have lost
Oh, no, that's okay. Smith, we were going to let you go.
I was just saying that,
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah, I don't know where I'd broken off, but was Curtis Axel. He needs some submission, some good decisive wins. Really, that's the best thing that they could do for him. Just winning by the skin of his teeth doesn't accelerate him. He's good.
Well, Smith, I want to thank you so much for coming on our show and giving us your take on wrestling. And is there any way that listeners here can find what the Hart family is doing? Where can we connect with you on social media, and where can we find out more about your promotions?
Yeah, they can connect with me socially on the Smith Hart 1 on Twitter.
Okay, and then
I have numerous Facebooks. I don't know if they're all, but if they look for Smith Hart, they'll find Facebooks and things as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have people handle that for me because I am kind of old school, as you know. And here's kind of like, I approve pretty much everything and anything that's said by me or about me.
Smith, you were awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us, sharing your knowledge on wrestling, and giving our listeners a chance to get in the head of one of the members of the Hart family. Thank you so much, and best of luck to you and your dynasty, and long live the Canadian Hearts.
And long live old school.
Old school. Thank you.
Thank you. Egypt, you're a goddess, and anybody sitting next to you is very lucky.
Thank you.
She's sitting by herself today. I'm across from her, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, well, across is even better. But, I love you, little Egypt. You take care, and thanks for the kind words.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck with your show.
Okay, thank you so much. So we were getting back to what it's like to have a guest come into the studio, what it would be like to bring in maybe a big, talent from the WWE.
An old timer.
Yeah.
There's a few around. I've been trying to get Gene LaBelle in here, but he only lives right down the street. I don't know, Rick. I'm busy, but I think I can get him in here.
I think it would be fun to get someone like that in there.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about the breakdown of the show, we didn't go into a lot of promos because Smith's not crazy about that. But there was that one promo with Miz.
And Paul?
Yeah.
About Punk?
Yeah.
Well, they had to bring that up because Punk, was going through his deal, and he said, just stay down, stay where you're safe and stay out of the ring. And I don't know where they're going to go with that, but Paul did a good job of promoting that.
Well, he did, and I loved the way that Paul, golly, he turned out to be such a villain. Do you remember last week? I was on the fence. I'm like, oh, it is his best friend. CM Punk is his best friend, and he's not going to do anything to jeopardize that relationship.
Yep, remember.
Good old Paul.
Yep.
And then, holy cow, Monday Night Raw, he unleashes, the devil on CM Punk. And, I just could not believe that not only did he turn on his best friend, that he put him out to the slaughter.
Yeah.
He actually sent him out there, and knowing full well that his friend was going to get annihilated, that he did it anyway. I was really, really surprised by that.
Somebody like Paul can change overnight from a face to a heel. Just a couple of words, a few looks, and all of a sudden you hate him. And then tomorrow you can come back and you'll love him.
Yeah.
He's just that type of personality. And that's a real pro.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he's doing here.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I love him. I know he's supposed to be the heel. I really appreciate the work that he's doing.
Yep.
He's incredible.
He is incredible.
So let's talk about that match 4. This is Curtis Axel versus Jericho.
I liked it. I thought it was a really good match.
Yeah, it really was. It was perfectly balanced.
Totally.
Had selling on both. They were each selling the heck out of it for the other person. They were in the ring, they were out of the ring, they were both on the ropes, off the ropes, flipping around. This was a great match. It had a lot of kickouts, and I like that because not only were they kicking out, right, when they were getting tackled, they were doing the kick out. What I really liked was that they were so exhausted after each kick out.
They were. Definitely, yes.
That submission hold that Jericho did on Axel, and when that was perfect selling, trying to get to that bottom rope.
Exactly.
When Axel was crawling his way across the ring to and his hands shaking, and it was awesome. That's
exactly what Hart was talking about. That's the psychology.
Yeah.
Those people are just dying to see where it's going to go, or you got to milk it and milk it and milk it and milk it and milk it, and maybe you just get there, maybe not get there.
Right.
And that's what good wrestling is. And Jericho can bring the best out of anybody.
Oh my God, he was. Here's something that I thought was so perfect. He's in a submission hold with Axel, and he's holding him up, and Axel's exhausted. Jericho's exhausted. He ends up sitting on Axel. He's using his extra weight, because at first he kind of was squatting in the submission hold, and then he was like, he bounces down and he sits on him, and he makes Axel claw his way across the ring till he got to the rope to keep the match going. So I thought that was awesome. The spinning neck breaker from Axel, that was just, it always takes my breath away because I know how dangerous that move is.
He's getting better and better.
He is.
Every week he gets better and better.
Yeah, and then Heyman, with being the great distractionist that he is.
Yes.
Just like Smith was saying, he's subtly distractive without taking away anything from the work that's happening in the ring.
Exactly.
It's perfect. It's magic
Perfect
every
timing.
time I watch it.
Yep.
So, again, Heyman's the final distraction to Jericho's undoing, and that's exactly what happened. Axel got Jericho on that one.
Yes, he did. But then we had Ryback.
Yeah. So Jericho's left in the ring, right? And then out comes the killer for the final kill. And
I like Ryback.
He's good.
He is good.
He is really, really good.
He's come a long way too, and he's just very believable. He's got great size, and he pulls it off.
Yeah, yeah, and he gets the crowd up too.
Oh, absolutely.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I really like that. So yeah, so that was a nice little bit of seeing Ryback. He's part of the show. We didn't really see much of him except for that moment right there, but it was really powerful, and he left, you know, with just as much energy as he came in with. So
there's a few guys we haven't seen lately that we had a few months back, and they just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
But I think with Ryback, he's just like the #1 guy right now for me. They're going to really do something with him. I mean, he's got the whole package here.
Right. So Sandow, who you're a big fan of, and I am too. He's great.
He is good.
He comes out and he does a little promo where he tries to explain why he took, you know, Cody off the ladder to grab the briefcase, and how now at this point Cody should just be, you know, happy and
grateful.
Then, and they're besties, right? Yeah. Santa's like, why aren't we besties? You know, I'm gonna let you hold my bag.
Exactly. He let him hold it all right.
I know.
Then he got it back right at him.
Oh my God! It was good to see Cody actually participate in a promo, like where he, you know, he gets to show a lot of energy and emotion. So it's kind of nice to see Cody do that.
Yep. Came right back at him, though.
Yeah. I am so excited to talk about RVD.
You know, he's a friend of mine. He has been for years, and we've done a lot of TV work and commercial auditions together. He's a great guy, and I'm glad to see him in the ring again.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys, they go away and they don't come back and they get injuries, but he's very consistent.
Yeah.
And his moves are very consistent. He's done the same moves for years, and he does them well. And I haven't seen Darren Young in a while. I don't know what happened to him, but they brought him back, too, to work with him.
Well, with RVD, they had mentioned that he was out for 8 years. Do you know, for the new viewers out there, is that because of an injury or did he retire?
I don't really know. I know he had a comic book store in Long Beach, and then his wife was ill, I believe, and he took time off with that. But I don't really know. I mean, he comes and goes, but he looks exactly the same as he did 8 years ago. He hasn't changed at all.
Yeah. So when you saw RVD flying off the ropes, taking those bumps, how did they look to you?
Good.
Good.
Nothing's changed. He still has it. I mean, he knows. He told me when he started wrestling, he went to a sandlot at a park and just started doing flips by himself as a little kid and learning how to do all this stuff, and taught himself actually how to wrestle by doing all those little gymnastics moves. And so he just practiced and practiced and practiced, then incorporated into wrestling.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. Yeah, I've just always liked him.
Yeah. And, you know, this was the first time I saw Darren Young. And, you know, you said they brought him back to work with RVD, which I think is way cool. One of the things that impressed me the most about Darren was the way the way he'd yell at RVD, you know, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? I was like,
That's old school.
That's so scary.
Yeah, that's old school.
It's awesome. Awesome. But yeah, there was still a lot of flying around, a lot of rope work, a lot of air.
It's a good match. You know, anytime RVD gets in there, it's going to be good. And you can see where his signature move is going to come in. You know when it's coming, and then he applies, and then maybe it may not work at that moment, but he'll come back. He's definitely a consistent wrestler. Never gives you a bad match at all.
Do you think we're going to see the Wyatts on SmackDown, or do we have to continue to watch the Wyatts on Raw?
I don't know, because I haven't seen that much of them. I've seen the promos, and I don't think I actually saw them the week that they were on. I don't know why, what I was doing, but I didn't see it. And I'm not sure what they're doing with them. Do you know? Do you have a clue?
Yeah, well, just from the vignettes that they're showing on SmackDown, they're showing the Wyatts just to be a destruction force. I'm waiting to see if they're going to infiltrate the SmackDown, the Friday night show, because I think that would be neat to see how they would go over with those guys. That on the side, Vicky, when we talk about Vicky Guerrero and taking over the new GM position, they do this promo with Vicky, which was hilarious, where she's in her office and she's asking to get the whole place decorated, and Teddy comes in, and, you know, there's this like olive branch moment that was supposedly going on with Vicky and Teddy until Vicky sees her opening, and then she yells, "No way, I will never, ever work with you. No way, security." And then she hauls off, and she just it was awesome to watch that.
I don't know how anybody can live with that voice. Oh, my God.
Yeah, she's something else. So, the main event.
Yep, Del Rio and Orton.
Yes, I love watching those two together.
Well, they never give you a bad match, the two of them. They're perfect at what they do. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I kind of went through it a little bit and had glimpses of it. I didn't see the whole match in its entirety. What did you think of it?
Well, I actually loved it. I thought it was really a complete match. They work excellent together. I love it when I can see two workers that are the same size battling it out. And they took their time. Everything went like clockwork as far as after every execution, there was the sell. So it wasn't like execution. It was execution, sell it, you know, Randy in his arm, and then the exhaustion, the kickouts. I mean, it just looked like they didn't have any air left in their lungs.
Well, see, that gives you time to digest what's going on.
Yeah.
When you get too much at once, you don't know what's happening. You can't follow it. It's
yeah.
like, I put on Lucha last week for about a half hour, the Mexican channel. And I watch them. And I like watching those guys because they're so fast, but there's literally no storyline.
No.
And there's no selling in between, and you get lost. But with this, you can follow it. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
And you know the heel, you know the face, and you know where they're going with it. So that's the real pros that give you a good match.
Yeah.
And these two guys are great.
Yeah.
What they do.
Yeah, they are. And and Alberto.
There you go.
I don't know. I for some reason would love to call him
Why is
Antonio. I just because he looks Italian to me. But Alberto was one of those few workers that got it as far as like taking your time, enjoying being out there, celebrating within yourself as well as with the audience, what it's like to be there, take it in, and then sell it and come out with that confidence. He just exuberates.
You know why
confidence.
that is? Because it takes time to feel comfortable in the ring. Somebody new goes out there and they want to do everything all at once, and they're in a hurry, and they're not enjoying themselves because they're too afraid of what's next. So they rush through it.
Okay. Well, that actually was our last match.
That was our last match. So
that
Steve,
was our last match. There was a lot of mocking going on with Alberto, which I loved. He was just pounding the floor like that. And it was just awesome to see that mocking. I mean, it was just like such a heel move. The audience just loved it. They ate that up. Those two guys are great together.
They are.
So with that being said, we are not cutting the show short because we are going to try and get in a special guest who we think is outside. Steven, do you have any idea if... Oh, we do have a special
where's
guest.
the entry music?
Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen.
Good. Come over here, sit down.
Please. Oh, my God. For those of you who don't, who can only hear us right now, six-time WWE World Champion, the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin just entered our podcast. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. How you doing, Rick? It's been a long time since I've seen you.
You know, I haven't seen you since the last time.
And goals.
That's right. The firehouse, my office.
Firehouse. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for popping in.
I was watching you guys break down the show. It's incredible.
Well, it's something we enjoy doing. We love watching wrestling and talking about it.
But I'm going to be a regular from now on.
Well, you know, last year I asked you if you'd come and do this.
Oh, I'd come and do it with you guys. I always hate driving in traffic. I want to watch you guys. I can sit at my house.
No, we'll send a Volkswagen to pick you up.
Send a Volkswagen to pick you up. They've sent worse. If there's one thing I can't stand is when they send a Volkswagen to pick you up.
Oh, man. Well, that's never going to happen. We'll make sure we take care of you, Steve. Okay, so you watch. Here's what I love about you, Steve. I follow you on Twitter. I follow you on your podcasts. I'm a huge fan. As you know, Redneck Island, I'm one of the hosts for your after show.
Yep.
What I love about what you bring to the table is, and I'm not going to lie, for me, when I stopped wrestling, it was really hard for me to continue to watch it. It just hurt, okay? Because like I felt like I still had a lot to give, and I had to kind of put that, I had to like brush it to the side in order to move on with my life. But with you, you still are in it. You watch it, you enjoy it, you watch the pay-per-views. Am I right?
Yeah, I watch the major pay-per-views, and I still try to watch the show and keep in tune, see what the guys are doing, what the business is doing, what the flavor of the month is, you know, what they're doing with this high spot, what have they improved upon or made worse or stayed status quo. I'm a fan of the business, and I'm a WWE guy. Make no mistake about it. That was where, you know, my greatest points were achieved. But I'm a wrestling fan, so I watch, you know, when I talk about TNA every now and then, you know, I enjoy competition, and I think it's lopsided competition because WWE is always going to be number one, but I still love the business. But you know, obviously, I have so many body parts spread out all over the world with working with WWE. I'm always going to be a part of that brand, and that brand will always be a part of me.
Do you have those body parts together today, or are they like still spread out?
I spray a little WD-40 on Brett, just baling wire, duct tape, try to keep it all together. But you know, through it all, I feel pretty dang good.
I actually heard WD-40 works.
It does. It does.
You know, I know our listeners are going to be thrilled that you're on with us right now, and I'm thinking one of the questions that they would want to ask you would be, who in the WWE pool right now reminds you most of the old school stuff?
Man, the old school stuff. Man, you know, you have to go either probably CM Punk or Triple H because, I mean, Triple H comes from territory systems.
Yeah.
About the same time when I was breaking in, you know, CM Punk came up through some of the feeder systems, a lot of indie stuff. You know, I guess those would be the two. Well, and of course, Taker kind of comes and goes. He's kind of a WrestleMania specialist. He's got the same body parts spread out all over the world like I do. But I would say those two guys.
Well, we have noticed, because we've been watching SmackDown for a while, we've noticed that there has been, it almost looks like there's flavors of old school, and we don't know, maybe it's Triple H's influence, I'm not sure, but we are loving what we're seeing right now. Because we're seeing kind of longer storylines, we're seeing true tag team matches. And I remember you had said on one of your podcasts that you enjoy watching tag teams.
Man, it's when you watch a really two great tag teams out there working, and it, you know, I mean, because it's double the fun. I mean, you got two guys out there on each side. You got that. Of course, you got to have a great referee.
Yeah.
That is such a big part of any match, whether it's singles or tag team wrestling. But when you get two great tag teams in there who truly work together as a team, and you know, those two heels when they cut off the ring and go to get the heat on that babyface, and that babyface trying to fight his way across, but those heels have cut off the. This is classic, you know, Arn and Ole versus, you know, Rock and Roll. I mean, that would be a classic setup right there, the way those two teams would work. There's just so many things going on. Drawing the referee, coming down the apron, and not burying the referee, you know, keeping the heat where it should be. But you cannot beat a good tag team match.
That's so funny you should say that, because just recently we've noticed the Usos have, you know, have really taken a turn and just like, oh God, they're just awesome. I love the headhunter dancing that they do, the tribal painting, but I don't want to ever see them broken up in a singles match. I want to always see the Usos as a tag team, like the Shield. I want to see them stay together as a tag team.
Well, you know, they're going to bust the Shield up here, you know, one of these days after these guys get a little more seasoned under them, and I think they should. I'm not going to sit here and book on you guys' show, but yeah, I mean, the guys are still green in the business, and they all three have wonderful potential. Yeah. It's going to be fun to see them go down the road and mature and expand and grow. But, you know, going back to the old tag team days, you know, there were guys that, you know, would wrestle damn near their whole career as a tag team, you know, and every now and then, you know, a guy would work a single, but they stayed together as a tag. And I mean, and that's why the tag environment was so good back in the day. It's over and over and over repetition. Right. You don't just turn into a tag team overnight. You know, it takes a lot of work, a lot of chemistry.
I love it. When it clicks, it's magic.
Sure.
It's magic. Okay, one more. I'm just throwing out these random questions because then I don't.
Random questions. Yeah, you're awesome. Go ahead.
Thank you. I love talking about managers because you know, from the Jimmy Hart days and when we saw what he was able to pull off, what are your thoughts of Paul Heyman right now?
Man, I tell you what, you know, I got to bring myself more up to speed. All this stuff is DVR'd at the house. I got to get. I've been hearing on my Twitter account that Heyman's just been lighting it up with all the promos. So I need to get on my game and watch what I've got DVR'd, and I've been catching things sporadically. But man, just, you know, I'm a Paul Heyman guy. The guy's done so much for my career, and so I've really just heard about what he's done lately. But, you know, that guy's he's the ultimate. He'll go down as one of the best. And when you say that, obviously there's been some great ones, but Paulie will be in that list.
That's so awesome. I'm so glad you said that because I love what he's doing, and we talk about it every week, and it just gets better and better. And he's just there's some new storylines going on with CM Punk. They were besties, and now they're not besties, and it's just like there's this evil Dr. Evil thing going on with Paul, and I love it.
He plays the part so well, and you know, he's not just out there flapping his gums. He's making points and laying things down, you know, different layers of stuff. It's not just one simplistic thing. I mean, he's pulling a lot of strings. A verbal puppet master, if you will.
He is awesome. When we talk about like the WWE talent, that's out there right now. There's been some guys that have been in it a long time, like Cena, for example, and he's had that title forever. What do you do you light up when you see him on the screen? Is that something you still enjoy watching?
What, John Cena?
Yeah.
Oh man, here's the thing about John Cena, and man, that guy's walking on the edge of a razor blade. Some people love to hate him, some people love to love him. But let me tell you something about John Cena. They all respect him. That guy has done a tremendous job for that company, and he's a guy that always shows up. He'll work in pain. He's always got a smile on his face, and he goes to the nth degree to promote that brand. I got nothing but respect for that guy. I think he's doing something that really, the way the fans take him, some people say, would you stop pushing this guy down our throat? But they're not. I mean, he's the face of the company.
Yes.
What do you do? Make number one, the blistering heel? I tried that back in the day, and I was stone cold, and I was that gray area between black and white. Cena's the face of the company. You don't do that. When you turn down the cameras and lights and everything, he's the face of the company. You can't have him a heel, so they're not trying to shove him down their throats. That's just the way the business model is. And, don't flip him heel because you don't have that guy that can take his place. So he's in a very unique position in the business. I've never seen anybody walk it like he's walking it before, and walking it right now, and he's doing an amazing job. And like I said, you either love to love him or you love to hate him, but you damn sure respect him. At least I do.
Yeah.
Because I know what's going on.
I believe you. I swear.
Can you repeat that again?
I'm serious. But it really is an interesting thing that's going on with that cat.
Yeah. I know. I do. I light up every time I see him.
But when you said, you kind of referred to him as he's having that title for so long. I mean, he's a young veteran. That guy's been through some wars. He's been out there with some great talent in the ring. He's told some great stories. He's had a lot of high-profile matches. So, I mean, he's still a young man, but he is a veteran. And, I always, got to work smarter, not harder. John, take care of your body.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. So we had Smith Hart on earlier today. He called in from Canada.
How's he doing?
He's doing great. He kicked right into, he watched SmackDown on Friday, and he jumped right into breaking down those matches.
He's totally old school. Totally.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, he doesn't even want to talk promos.
Yeah.
It's like, for him, it was just like, let's talk matches.
Well, if you guys are talking matches where, was he saying the guys need to sell more?
He didn't say anything derogatory. He just said it was. He's totally.
But that's not really being derogatory. Yeah. Guys from what I have seen. Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more salesmanship.
Absolutely.
A long time ago, breaking in. Can I tell a story?
Please.
Real quick?
Are you kidding?
I was going to do a match, and I was in the USWA working with Jarrett and Tojo Yamamoto. A little bit Japanese guy, great manager, had a ton of heat on him. And I was in that tough guy mode. I was about 250, pretty jacked, in good shape, greener than hell. And, I was selling, but I was more register selling. And Tojo came up to me after the match, and he goes, you must sell. And Tojo talked real quietly. He was a very sweet guy. And he said, here, he goes, grab my ear. And I grabbed him on the earlobe, and he just cringed, and he just kind of cowered away from me because I had hurt him, seemingly. And he goes, that's sell.
Absolutely.
And when he did that, when I grabbed his ear, and I barely grabbed his ear, and I thought I crushed the life out of this guy, I got it. The light went off.
Yeah.
And you can sometimes, okay, I won't get carried away here, but there's also a little bit of, to my point, they're not selling enough, but on the other end of things, they're overselling the obvious things too much. And that's a fine line there. And a lot of people won't know what I'm talking about, but if you watch the show and watch what's going on right now, there's either no selling or underselling, and then there's the obvious oversell, the pantomime almost. It's like, here's what's going on now.
Or there's register. Or you just register.
Yeah.
You just register.
Right. Oh, my God. Okay, last question.
Okay, sorry. I love this damn business, so when you start asking me questions, I get too fired up. Go ahead.
Would you, well, 2 questions. Will you come back?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yay, Rick.
Good.
The virtual high five right there.
Well, I can't give you 5.
Okay, we'll take your 4.
Steve took my pinky.
Take your 4.
Is that 5, Steve?
It's 4 1/4.
Okay.
We don't even want to open that can of worms.
I got the handshake while ago. I was like, okay, something's not right here.
Oh, God. All right, so one of the things that Smith was talking about, I wanted to ask him about the Diva division. I worked as a long time ago. I mean, way long time.
Stop it. I watched some of your stuff the other day on YouTube.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. But I was wondering what you think of the Diva division. Smith thinks, you know, he's not really happy with what he's seeing right now. I asked him, does he use a lot of females in his promotions up in Canada? He doesn't. I'm wondering, do you think that we should be seeing more divas on TV?
Man, again, going back to exactly the road I was going down a while ago, I've got a lot of stuff DVR'd. I need to bring myself, and you know, the way those divas were getting worked into there, it was usually about a match, a Raw or SmackDown, whatever. Do y'all cover both shows?
Yeah, okay. But we Rick and I do SmackDown.
Okay, but anyway, you know, it's usually just going to be, it's not going to be a whole match full of divas, so you don't get a chance to see them. If I'm just glancing at the TV, you don't see a whole lot of the action. To answer your question, man, I haven't seen a lot of great diva stuff. Whatever happened to Kelly Kelly? Did Creative not have nothing for her and they let her go? But that's as far back as I go from that. You know, I think...
would you like to see more of them?
Yes, I'd like to see more of them. Watch the oversell.
Okay.
Watch the oversell.
Yeah. Okay, great.
We got to wrap up. He's giving a sign.
We do. I mean, we have seen 4 signs, but I thought, hey, you know, the listeners are like, they're not going to care.
I brought you a present, by the way.
What's that?
I brought you a present.
Ah, you rascal.
You know I did the Gold's Gym logo.
Absolutely.
Well, this is an old school bodybuilding logo I just did. It's out the golden era of bodybuilding. And so I brought you double X because you're so huge.
You're a rascal.
And I want you to have it.
Thank you very much, Rick. I appreciate this very much.
Okay.
And for your fans who are out there in the virtual world, where can they find you, Steve?
They can find me on Twitter at Steve Austin BSR. They can listen to the Steve Austin Show podcast on podcast1.com and iTunes. And you can look at my website. I'm slow to update it, BrokenSkullRanch.com.
Lots of merchandise on there.
Yes. And he said that very fast.
And
I got every bit of it. You can find me at RicDrasin.com and RicksCorner.com and Actors Entertainment and on Twitter at Ric Drasin as well.
And me, Little Egypt, on Twitter. We're TwitterBuzz.
We are.
And Facebook, official page of Little Egypt, and Serious Inquiries Only, AngelinaAltician.com. Thank you very much. Rick, you want to close us out?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for watching AfterBuzz TV SmackDown with Steve Austin here and Angelina. And this was a great time. I'm sure glad you came in.
I'm glad to be here. Yay. I'm glad I made the drive.
Yay! So happy. You don't know.
Yeah. From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.